Hello and greetings, you too. It's been a long, 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 long time since I have spoken on my YouTube channel. Tonight, I want to talk about some stuff. I want to do some. I told you. Yes, honey, I told you. I told you what this man was headed into. Okay? We're going to talk about that tonight. What Trump is trying to put into effect. Ooh, it's not good. And we're gonna talk about some other stuff too. Let me do my little audio, my sound check before I get to talking. All right. So give me a minute here. I need to. I know I should have had all this set up when I clicked on the go live button, right? Just a second. Music is probably a bit loud, and it's pretty late. There we go. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me see how this sounds. Let me see how this sounds. Hmm. It's pretty late. Tonight? All right, that sounds pretty good. All right, I need to do one more thing before I get the yapping. Give me a second. I don't want my phone to go dead. Honey. Let me see where I'm gonna start. I don't think I'm gonna start with the Trump happenings. Let's start with what I've been seeing lately, continuously still happening on these YouTube streets. We still have Africans harassing foundational Black American family. They're still harassing us. And that is the proper word to use, harass. It's a form of harassment because we have told them over and over again that we don't see ourselves as them. We don't want to be a part of them. We really just don't want to have anything to do with you because you're savage behavior. You lack respect. You lack discipline. Because if you had any discipline, you would certainly respect somebody when they say, hey, look, I'm not you. Don't identify me as you. Don't categorize me in or put yourself in a mix with me. You're not me. I'm not you. You, meaning the Africans, they have a lack of respect for what foundational Black Americans have requested and demanded. We've asked nicely, and then we demanded it to the point of delineation. When somebody gets to the point of delineation, when a group of people get to the point of delineating from you, it means they don't want to have anything to do with you. Period. In no kind of ways. So I don't understand why you would continue to push on and continue to insert yourself into these people when they have stated to you nicely and demanded that you back off. And the people, the Africans, they continue to insert themselves. They continue to leech on to FBAs, finding every which way they possibly can. They continue to call your platform and play in your faces. Listen, at this point, I think that all FBAs understand Africans' position. We understand their ideas about us, their positions in this country of America. And if you don't know their position, it's something the matter with your eyes, honey. Because their position is they're not here to join forces with you. They are here to compete with you, to replace you. That is their mission. They are not here to join forces with you. Don't be swayed by the bullshit, nice talking. Nice what? Ain't no such thing. When somebody talk nice, I'm always highly suspicious. When you want to be friendly, I'm always highly suspicious. For what? Why? Who are you? Where you come from? I don't need your friendship. You're trying to insert yourself into FBA's business. That's all it's about. So that is their position in this country. And FBAs, you need to be aware of these people's position. Give me a second. You need to be aware of their position. All that, the last panel I heard, there was some FBAs on there. We need to be nice. We don't have to be harsh when we're talking to them and we're trying to have conversations. I'm like, oh my gosh, that ain't nothing but a big head pan African. She's a fake. She comes up on the panel pretending to be all down with foundational Black Americans, but she's inserting in there little hints of Pan Africanism. Let's be nice, but we can be nice and talk about what? If it's gotten to the point where we've decided let's delineate from these people because they're highly disrespectful, they lack respect, they seem to be savage minded. And savage minded means you want to take somebody's, you understand what I'm saying? You want to come and take somebody's and take over, replace them. That's savage minded. Let me back it up a little bit real quick. A lot of you need to go and read about Liberia. You really got to read about Liberia. It is a case for us to hold to the front when it comes to identifying with African. You cannot. It is highly dangerous to identify with these people. These people are after your whole mother identity. That's it. Let me explain to you what they did to the Liberians. It was awful. And that's what they're trying to do to foundational Black Americans today. The exact thing they did to Liberians. Now, when I say Liberians, you might think that's Africans. No, no, it's not. I'm going to tell you how I get to be African. The same thing they're pushing today in America, creeping up in our faces, in the faces of foundational Black Americans, pretending to be our friend. Hey, hi, how you doing? Hey, brother. If you don't get the, hey, brother, hey, sister. Right. How you doing? I'm African. I don't care. When you know the position of these people, shit, I lost my train of thought. Wait, I said that because I wanted to talk about Liberia, but then I went on to explain them pretending to be friendly with you because I was leading into trying to make you understand how these people have no kind of desire to be um they desire is to claim your whole identity, take over your whole identity, replace you. So let me just get orderly with it. In America, we have said, okay, let's leave those people alone. Let's delineate because this is foolery. Caribbeans and Africans are tripping big time. We're delineating. Now, I don't hear much about Caribbeans, but we do know that they are cosplaying us heavily and they pretend to be us, right? But we can spy out an African that's fresh off the boat or one that's been here a while because they have a heavy accent. Now, the first, second, and third generations, that's an issue for us because we can't always identify who they are. They have our culture, they have our tongue, they speak what they have our tone and everything. They are embedded in their little head that they're one of us, and unfortunately, they're not. But they are. I talked about these particular first, second, and third generation of American immigrants in America. They are highly that's the ones that have very, very serious identity crisis because their parents embedded it into them that they're one of us. Or you're not one of us because they didn't grow up back home in Jamaica or Nigeria. So, wait a second, let me turn this off. So their parents made them feel like, no, you're one of these people, a foundational Black American, when in actuality the poor child is not. So they all screwed up right about now. Like they done been born and raised here. And you can't tell them MFers that they're not foundational Black American. They become highly insulted. They become highly insulted. And they become demanding. No, no, I'm just as American as you, you know? And it's not their fault. It's been embedded in their little brains that they're one of us and they're not. So they have some serious identity crisis to work through. They've been rejected by the homeland that they originated from. And they also rejected by foundational Black Americans, which we're not doing any rejection. We're just telling them the truth that no, you're not a foundational Black American. And that's where parents ought to stop such awful teaching. That is a sad thing. If I raise my son in Japan, I'm not going to tell him he's not one of us. He has a Japan culture, but you still foundational Black American. But unfortunately, for the first, second, and third generation of immigrants here, that's Black, they are very lost and very confused. Anyway, let's move along from them. You got the Africans fresh off the boat that been here like 10 years, maybe 15 or even 20, maybe 25 and still dumb as fuck, don't know the history because they don't have any connection to the history, to the land or anything. All they know is that they came here and they see opportunity. That's all they know. Okay, they don't know what the people went through. They don't even understand. They think that the white man was just nice and kind and set everything up for us to be able to take advantage of, and we complain. They have no freaking idea that people had to fight, blood had to be spilled for people to have rights in this country. We're talking about not Black people, excuse me. We're talking about foundational Black Americans. Then you have Caribbeans who came and joined into assimilating in our culture very smoothly while still maintaining their own culture, assimilated in our culture, which means that we allowed them to come into our culture and call themselves one of us, but they did not allow us to come into their culture and call ourselves one of them. They never welcomed foundational Black Americans to identify as Jamaican. Tell me any foundational Black American people that was welcome into Jamaican communities or any Caribbean community, Haitians, and they can float around, walking around talking about they Haitian when they actually a foundational Black American, or Jamaican when they actually a foundational Black American. That never happened. When they describe, oh, we were flat Black in New York. No, you idiot. That's what a Pan African try to promote, right? He's the idiot. No, you idiot. You were not flat Black. Foundational Black Americans were flat Black. They believe that all Black people unite and stick together and fight the powers that be. They welcome you into their communities to join in with them because you being blinded and not blinded, but just being unaware of the country you just set foot in, that this country is race based. Not understanding that, but we understood it and we allowed the people who were melanated, heavily melanated like ourselves, to join in with us. To join in with us. And fight against the powers that be. Because in this country, foundational Black Americans had to fight for everything they have. And that's something that Africans and Caribbeans don't even comprehend. Oh, slavery's over. Oh, this is over. What? You can't dismiss our ancestors' blood talking about, oh, that's over. Oh, this is how deeply disrespectful these people are. And this is what has produced delineation. That's where we are now, demanding respect. That's how we got to the point of delineation. We realized that these people come here, they don't recognize the game was going on. They don't respect the people of the land, the soil, and our ancestors struggle. All they know is they want to eat off of what they see available, not understanding and comprehending that everything Black people have in this country, they had to fight for it. Everything. People died for it. Now, why wouldn't we want to delineate from such people? We allow them to join in our establishments, schools, and everything else while they're standing there snubbing their noses at us. Thinking they're better than us, not understanding the atmosphere of hatred. They only speak of racism. They'll tell a foundational Black American real quick, you need to let that be and move on. Let's move to the future, into the future. Let all that other stuff be. I've never seen any of these people at protests when foundational Black Americans were harmed by police or anybody else. I've never seen those people out there. They say, yeah, yeah, you go ahead, fight while we eat. And I am so glad that my people has caught on to them mooching and being parasitic. And now we are cleaning ourselves of them. You know, you clean a parasite, so get off me. Yeah. Okay, you disconnect from them. It's to that point. We allowed the Caribbeans to come into our mix and they wanted to take over as well. They wanted to claim the achievements of foundational Black Americans, which is outrageous. One or two of them were allowed to come in and, well, not one or two of them excelled among us. Like for as, during the Black Renaissance, Harlem Renaissance, or, civil rights movement, a couple of them may have grew among us, within us, I'm talking about, by joining us. And they want to claim fame to something that was established by the Black, not Black, I'm sorry, that was established by foundational Black Americans. They want to claim it. Oh no, we were there. No, 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 sir. You came in our mix with your Muppet mouth, and we allowed you to have your say because you were on code with us. Do you understand? You ain't established nothing. We allowed you to speak because you were on code with us. And you can take this back to your people who don't know what the hell is going on in this country, don't know the atmosphere, the true atmosphere. They only know what they're seeing, but cannot read the depthness of it. You go ahead and take that back to your people and train your people up who in this country. That's what you are to do. But you don't claim what's ours because we allowed you in. It's not making any sense. You sound really, it's a trifling type of, it's trifling to do that. Yeah, it's a trifling type of behavior to do such a thing, to come and want to steal people's cultural achievements and worldwide influence. You guys, do you recognize that like the BET Awards and stuff like that? These people have been working to steal our identity and lineage and culture for a very long time. You see how um a lot of the music people they put all these Caribbeans in place to be musicians that is singing our music and performing our arts. None of this stuff is their stuff because it's all about the takeover. Oh, we did rap. The Africans, you only know how to rap and sing jazz because of us. Yeah. Every which way you turn, they're trying to steal your cultural achievements and identity. Foundational Black Americans. But anyway, let me move on from that. Why would we want to continue to socialize with these such people? Why continue to socialize with such people when you know their position clearly? Can you understand? Can you read between the lines? Can you understand what they're saying? They have let you know in the worst ways that we better than you. Oh, we all doctors, which is pure foolery. Like, who believes that? Like, you guys are, do you know how many black, you got, do you know how many foundational Black Americans are in this country versus Nigerians? And Nigerians are acting as if all of them are doctors. All the melanated doctors are Nigerians. A majority of melanated doctors are Nigerian, which is a lie. Or Caribbean, I heard a Caribbean say, which is a lie. These people are here to compete, foundational Black Americans, to compete with you. They're not here to join you. They're not here to join forces together. I mean, they're simply here to compete and to replace. And I'm glad a lot of us recognize that and we're breaking away and moving away from such things. Even for us who's not online, a lot of us, when we have conversations outside of online, our brothers and sisters go, yeah, that's what's going, yeah, they might not know about the lineage name, but they do know the behavior exists. And they definitely gonna be on cold when it breaks to the streets, baby. Talking about it's a YouTube thing. Oh, trust me, it's not. So my point in saying all of that is this here. I hear some of these FBA panels where they like, let's be nice and talk nice to them. But you already know their position. You know they don't like you. You know that they call you names. You know these people are competing with you. You know these people despise you and smile in your freaking face. Why are you having conversations with people that you know their position? I don't get it. That's why I like Alpha. I like Alpha. What do you call this stuff? Alpha. I'm sorry, y'all. Be forgetting names. I'm sub to a lot of foundational Black American channels and other channels. Sometimes I forget the names. But he's Alpha. No, okay. Black Alpha Network. I think I'm saying it right. Hold on. Black Alpha Network. Is it Alpha Black Network? No, I think it's Black Alpha Network. Let me tell you something about this young man. I think he's a little younger than me, but listen, that's a real foundational Black American right there. He's real. And I just really like hearing his content. I really, really do. He's a foundational Black American at heart. He's a foundational Black American that truly, truly loves himself. And you can hear it. He loves everything about himself as a Black man in this world. He loves himself. He loves his lineage. I love that. It's not a whole lot of foundational Black men foundational Black American men that walk around with self love like that. A lot of them, because they don't have what the what they think they're supposed to have or something. I don't know. They tend to not like themselves, and then they project it on other Black people. Like that Tommy Sotomayor guy, he hates himself. He doesn't like himself, and he projects. He projects his thinking, screwed up mentality onto other Black people. Don't be mad at us because we love ourselves. Okay. When I look at my people, foundational Black Americans, I see goodness. I see potential. I see greatness. I see goodness. And that's what Black Alpha, I think I'm saying it right. That's what Black Alpha Network sees about himself as well. You see goodness about himself and you can hear it when he speaks. Let me go further to what I'm talking about when I'm speaking about him, because I've been hearing these channels where they just, you have that Pan-African vibe in the midst of a foundational Black American, but at least they claiming to be foundational Black American, but you still hear that Pan-Africanist stuff going on in their speech. Black Alpha Network, he doesn't have any Pan-African in his speech. And damn skip it, Miss Chantell don't either. Because I can tell you this much. It's to the point, as of Black Alpha Network was saying, we don't need to have conversations with them Yuki people. He didn't say Yuki, I'm adding Yuki. We don't need to have conversations with those Yuki people about nothing. We don't need to talk. What do we need them for? When have we needed them? What do we need them for? You better understand if a war break out, those people are running back home. Those people are not fighters. They're running back home. Or if they stay, they most definitely will be against us because they love some whiteness. You better understand that. So I don't understand when I hear this. Oh, we foundational Black Americans, but the conversation with Africans carrying on. And people do what they want to do, of course. I'm just giving my perspective on what I think about it. When you carrying conversations with people who you know don't like you, who despise you. Let me tell you, I used to go to a Pan African panel and I still was learning. But it's been about a year now and I've learned to leave them the F alone, the Pan Africans and the Africans. Because those people, what I learned from socializing with them on those panels, going back and forth, debating with them and all of that, what I learned is that those people harbor a strong hatred. They harbor a strong jealousy and dislike towards the FBA family. Now, when I used to hit the link and talk to them and chat it up and go back and forth with them, I didn't realize that those people had that kind of stuff in their heart against us. I really didn't understand that. I just was thinking, oh, okay, this is what we call cultural clashes, cultural differences. And we have to respect our cultural clashes and differences, right? I didn't know that the people was harboring a dislike and a jealousy though towards FBA women and men. I didn't know that. I learned it eventually, right? Hold on. I eventually learned that, oh my goodness, these people are competing with us. These people want to overtake, they want to take what is ours. They want to claim our achievements. They want to claim our name and leech onto us and try to take over us. You understand what I'm saying? As I was on line and I listened more, I began to understand that it was much more to it than cultural clashes. It was a form of hatred they held in their hearts. They harbor hatred and jealousy and enviness because in Africa, a lot of those people are tribal minded. What comes from a man mouth proceeds from his heart. And it's definitely a part of his mentality, his ideology in life. And over there in Africa, they war with each other. The tribes still today, they war with each other. They extremely tribal, dangerously tribal. And now that they're in America, they still have a tribal mindset. They want to challenge the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can overtake them. They did it before. And I'm going to talk about that with the country called Liberia. And they over here in America today trying to pull the same thing they pulled on the Liberians. They're trying to pull on us today. But we're not having it. See, they haven't met the strong hands of foundational Black American yet. They going, oh, they soft. We can take them. You think because you eat people, you're going to take us? Really? I don't think so. Nothing about you scares people. What people don't like is you're grimy, gloomy, and creepy. That stuff eating people and painting your body all up crazy and shit and scarred and putting plates in you is not scary. It's creepy and crazy. So, foundational Black Americans, I don't understand why you even give these people time of the day. These people mentality is it listen, we and them, we're so different. We could never be one. I hope I'm getting through. Oh, listen. I'm getting deeper. Foundational Black Americans. Our mentality is so different from Caribbeans and Africans. We could never be one. Caribbeans, learn more in the chat says, I don't know that you don't know. Wait, you oh, I'm sorry. You've been in the chat for a minute. Hold on a second. I just looked down. How many Africans have, this is what Learn Most say, how many Africans have you interacted with in person on a weekly basis in the last 5 years? Probably zero. You're right. The only Africans I interacted with was between the age of 19 and I think about 22. I knew a good bit of them through friends. Um, and I learned a lot about them. I was very young and welcoming and whatever. And that's all. Okay. As time went on, I learned more about them. Do you understand? Learn more. Then Learn More says, you do know there are over a billion, hold on, a billion African, I think that might be countries though. A billion Africans on a continent. I can't see my dollar signs in a way. So there's a billion Africans on a continent. Yes, I do know that. And majority of them that come to America, how is it that they behave? Learn more. They behave very standoffish, right? Because they claim that when they come here, their parents already informed them, and I know you know this because you're one of them. Their parents already informed them that don't mess with the foundation of Black Americans. We're this, we're that. And you guys are extremely tribal minded, so you know how that go. You know they want you to stick to your tribe, to your people, which ain't nothing wrong with that. So you come over here very standoffish, and you have this idea in your little bird brain minds that foundational Black Americans are dumb, stupid, and criminals. When in fact, you know nothing because we built this country. We built this country, not the white man, sweetheart. Everything that you come here and you're able to do whatever it is you're able to do is because foundational Black Americans had to fight for that. These white people were not giving melanated people any type of respect. And that includes your African ass. You understand what I'm saying? So we talking about in America. We ain't talking about in Africa. We talking about Africans that come to America. Do you understand? All right. So back to what I was saying. We are so different. Foundational Black Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans, we are so different. Foundational Black Americans that you are wasting your time to try and be one with these people. You are, listen, this is not hate speech. I'm talking truth. You can be cordial and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Bye. You know what I'm saying? But if you are seeking to have an understanding and relationship with them of any sort, you're wasting your time. In a relationship like that, somebody is going to have to give up majority of themselves to please, to they're going to have to compromise. Somebody's doing most of the compromising while the other person is maintaining themselves strongly, their cultural beliefs, identity, and all of that, while the other person is giving up most of themselves, like they're tucking away most of their culture and identity and all of that kind of stuff to fit in with the other. So in that kind of relationship, you have somebody that's dominating. Their culture is dominating the relationship. Their culture and their identity is dominating the relationship. Now, let's use a personal relationship since we can't think of none collectively, right? Where Africans and foundational Black Americans and Caribbeans are doing something together. There is no such thing as Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is scamnism. It's just a bunch of nothing but scamming galore. When I hear Pan African, I hear scamming galore. They just busted the lady. What's the lady? What's she? Doctor what? And that name it was I don't know, Doctor something. She over there doing all kind of scamming stuff, telling this African man she gonna get us to come over there and build Africa up. Yeah, that's what she told him. They don't want to say it, but that's what she promised, that she can get a bunch of foundational Black Americans over there to build Africa up or his country. And it never happened. They probably showed him 1,000 videos of us saying, leave us alone. We not you. Leave us alone. We natives. Nothing but scammers galore. So listen, let's get into a personal relationship between Africans and foundational Black American first. In that relationship, it's likely, like I said, somebody's giving up, somebody's dominating the relationship with their culture and identity. So let's say, for instance, if an African comes to America and he or she marries an American person, likely because they're in America, that African person, that American person, I mean, is going to dominate that person's culture is going to dominate the relationship. That person's identity and culture is going to dominate the relationship because they're in America. You understand what I'm saying? That person, that American is not going to marry that African and then become an African while living in America. Like it's not making any sense. Okay? It's not making any sense. Even if he or she tries to become an African while living in America, it's not that you're in America. So you're going to have to function as Americans. So that's what I'm saying. Like the relationship is, it's somebody's going to dominate. Now, if they go to Africa, or if that woman go to Africa, a man go to Africa, and he marry an African woman, likely because they're in Africa, her or the African person's culture and identity is going to dominate the relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that it's the same thing right here in America. Let's see what a Caribbean, hold on. With a Caribbean, it's the same thing pretty much. The American person's culture is going to dominate the relationship more because they're in America. If they were in an island somewhere, that person's culture and identity would dominate more. When people in that type of relationship, it can become a little bit strained. The person that has to fall in line with the other person's culture and identity, it can become a little bit strained on them because they have to put away their cultural and identity, right? They can identify as what they are, and but your culture practices aren't going to be widely accepted here in America unless you're going around some of the people that's from your country in America. But when you go out into America in general, you're going to have to practice the American culture. And you know how they feel about waving your flags, your homeland flags in this country. We got Trump in office, and that ain't about to be going on no more. You can believe that. A lot more people about to be kicked out this country. Oh man, we're gonna get into that now later on in this discussion. We're gonna talk about what Trump is doing. But listen, that relationship that I'm talking about, different cultural relationship, let's let's say um I already say there's no such thing as Caribbean, a collective of Caribbeans, a collective of Africans, and a collective of foundational Black Americans working together. We haven't seen such happening right here in America, in the land of free, right? We haven't seen that before. So you can't convince me that Pan-Africanism exists when you right here in America and you have different cultures of melanated people who have never worked together to build anything, baby. It doesn't exist because we're dealing with the people. I want you to understand who we're dealing with, foundational Black Americans. We're dealing with the people that's very tribal minded, dangerously tribal minded. And yes, Caribbeans hold tight to their tribes as well when they come to America. Everybody does, really. The only people that was failing to do such a thing was foundational Black Americans. And we have awakened to the mistakes of the past, trying to get people to become one with us because we were born and raised in a race-based society system. And because that's all we know, that is race-based. We don't have respect of the tribe, the family tribe. But now we got that respect. We gaining that respect. We say, we got to respect the foundational Black American tribe. We got to respect each other as a people. We got to come back together like we were before the immigrants even came to this country. And now we're in the process of learning how to respect our tribe, delineating now. When we didn't respect our tribe, other people didn't respect it either. They tried to take our cultural achievements and worldwide influence for themselves. Matter of fact, let's dip into that real quick. All these Caribbeans and stuff like that that's dabbling into, they're out there dabbling into our culture, rap and hip hop and all that. That's all ours, right? They dibbling and dabbling in all that. But hold on. I haven't seen one of them have the influence like Tupac had. Give me one of them that had the influence like Tupac had. Nas thought he was going to be able to do that, but that faint that flame was fanned out real fast. You know, when Tupac had got, Nas was in the middle of a concert. He stopped the concert and him and Tupac was beefing, and he held moments of silence for Tupac all throughout the concert. But they're not influenced like our people, influenceable like our people. Because see, Tupac sung about what? He sung about what? He sung about foundational Black American struggles. He told our stories, baby. Nobody want to hear about no Caribbeans and Africans. Tupac told our stories. Bob Marley was influenced greatly by our people. He sung about injustices. Over there in his home country, they wasn't dealing with white people like we were over here in America. They didn't have that to deal with. But he was influenced by our people who sung about injustices and all those type of things going on. You understand what I'm saying? He never became big as one of us, our people, because as a musician, because he's not one of us. He knew about the stories and he sung about them. Let me dip in the chat right quick. I see some people popping up comments right quick. I don't want to ignore you, but I don't want to lose my thought either. Hold on, let me see. I don't think your fight is with the Caribbeans and Africans. There is no fight, sweetheart. I'm talking to the audience is foundational Black American. You can be whatever you want to be, but when I speak to my people directly. I don't speak to other people, uh, other groups of people directly. I don't know your culture. I'm speaking to my people who I know. But of course, you can be in the audience, but I don't know your culture like that to really speak directly to your culture. I'm speaking directly about foundational Black American culture in America. In America. David Duncan, he says Tupac had a Jamaican mother. So what are you talking about? Babe, I know nothing about Tupac's mother being Jamaican, and I highly doubt that. You're not going to come in the chat and put that label on this lady. I highly doubt his mama was Jamaican. So again, I don't know one Caribbean artists that excelled, even in America. I'm talking about the ones that's here in America that excel like the foundational Black American people. I don't know one that excelled like foundational Black Americans because they tell our stories. They sing about our stories and our struggles. The world relates to our stories and our struggles, foundational Black Americans. They say there's genres of piano music from South Africa and the little what they call that new reggae twist music, Afrobeats. It's not as popular as any American artists, even though they in America and they floating around, right? They still haven't risen to the fame that's equal to an American artist that's foundational Black American. No Caribbean that's a rapper or entertainer has risen to the levels of the equal foundational Black American. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, they can't even touch Beyonce, sweetheart. You gotta have that soul. You understand? You gotta be a part of the lineage. So, anyways, back to what I was saying, because I answered the questions. I didn't want to lose my focus, but back to what I was saying. I think I was talking about how shit, I hated that. But listen, foundational Black Americans. Oh, I remember. Listen, if you are, I still see a lot of y'all, like I said, trying to play nice with these Africans and Caribbeans. You having conversations with them and stuff. It does not benefit you. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit your people as a collective. If you already know their game, I don't understand why you continue to entertain them. Why should I allow? And it took me a minute to get to that point as well. Like, wait a minute, hold on. I can't keep talking to somebody I clearly don't know the history here, don't know the atmosphere, the current atmosphere. They don't, they just don't know the depthness of this country. They on the surface. And when you on the surface, you unaware. You unaware of the true game. This is a hostile territory. When you come over here, you have to understand it's racial. It's a racialized territory, country. It's not like other places. They push propagandas against certain people to make certain people look a certain way and make themselves look angelic, of course, which they're not. But listen, Africans and Caribbeans don't know what's going on here. They don't have the connection to the soil, to the people of the soil. They don't have the connection. But see, when it comes to indigenous and foundational Black Americans, we know the real deal. They don't know the real deal. They're on the surface trying to tell us what's up. And by the way, I just read about that guy, Kamora Lee. Remember, that's Russell Simmons. I don't know if they were married, ex-wife, children's mother, the Asian lady. And then she met the African guy who played in the movie Amistad or something. Him. He he goes and read a book sometime somewhere, and now he wants to come to the foundational Black American societies and teach us about how he discovered how we're all connected through Africa. And I'm like, what? That's not a good history, sir. the story goes that Africans kidnapped and sold other Africans to Europeans, who in turn sold them to other people around the world. And they suffered a great deal for 400 years. And you want to come and tell people that we're all connected? These people have had a whole new ethnic identity with the mixture, the admixture, and all of that. And you want to come and tell somebody something about the African? This is the weirdness I'm talking about. That's complete weirdo behavior and thinking. That's a horrible history. Oh, we're one. When an African arrived in Brazil, we're one. They're a whole new group of people 400 years ago. Okay, like get okay. Listen. Foundation of Black Americans, we have nothing in common with them. And to try to sit and have conversations where we try to have something in common with them is a complete waste of time, because you're not going to change their mindset about what they think about you, because they are truly dangerously tribal minded. Tribal minded people, they're highly competitive, super highly competitive. And the dangerous part when I say they're dangerously tribal, because when they're tribal like that, when they see something they want, first of all, they always aiming to be better than the big dog, right? The top dog. That would be foundational Black Americans, right? We the shit, the bomb, okay? Shit meaning bomb. That's colloquial dialect. You know nothing about. Shit means bomb. We the shit, as in we the happenings, baby. We the everything, okay? The salt, that flavor, your taste. Listen, so tribally dangerous minded tribal people, they see the big dog and they want to compete to replace the big dog. And that's what you see going on with Africans and Caribbeans. They want to compete to replace us, and they're trying their best. They're trying to snatch up our cultural achievements. They're trying to claim our names, going around talking about, yeah, I'm African American. I mean, come on now, you know very well they always tell us don't generalize, like the person in the chat just said, you must not know you must not know there's over 1 billion Africans on a continent. But this same person walking around talking about, oh, I'm African American. Well, now you want me to be specific about which Africans I'm talking about, but you're going to call yourself an African American? Is that making any sense, baby? Do you understand foundational Black Americans, what I'm saying? Do you see that? Do you hear that? They'll be quick to tell us we should not specify all Africans as one, because there's over 50, there's 54 countries in Africa, and thousands of tribes. But then they can come here in America and start calling themselves an African American. Now, why would you call yourself an African American when you don't want us calling you an African? Speaking in general terms of you being an African. Why not identify as you're supposed to? A Nigerian American, a Ghanaian American, a Gambian American. You're identifying as a African American because you're trying to leech. That is another way for you to leech. We're going to talk about real quick, because I won't go into a different conversation, why these people leeching so hard. But again, foundational Black Americans, I'm going to say this real quick. It's a waste of time to try to have conversations with these groups of people. It truly is. It doesn't benefit you. And this is what Black Alpha Network was on. I was like, yes, yes, yes. You're making sense, brother. Tell it, brother. Yes. Okay. Made all the sense in the world. Why are you trying to have conversations with these people? Why? You don't have time to be giving time to no people who don't know the true atmosphere of this country. They don't even know the true game. Do you know how lost they would be without us? Do you understand how lost they would be without foundational Black Americans? Rely on us heavily in this country. Do you know how lost they would be? They know, and that is why they are seriously trying to leech every way possible. Because they don't know the real deal about this country. They don't know who they up against. When they politicking, they sound stupid. They don't move like our people at all. They only want to use racism when they feel slighted or when they feel offended. Sometimes when they use it, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Of course they don't. They're not from here. They would be lost without us. And that's what they fear. That's why they're doing the best they can to leech every which way to connect to foundational Black Americans, because without us, they're lost. They know nothing. And I mean nothing. I mean zero. Zero. They heavily rely on us. But yet they're very disrespectful. So anyway, forcing a relationship, trying to talk to these people, we at the point of delineation because we realize just how disrespectful, ungrateful, nasty, and savage-minded and behaved they are. We have come to the point in a state of mind and say, hey, look, listen, let's leave these people alone. These people are no good. Let's leave them alone. They're highly disrespectful and they are no good to us. And now they're having a nervous breakdown because they know without us, they lost. And especially you got this new government in place, this new administration that's coming for their heads big time. Look at how they out there still trying to get us to fight for them. No, no, they put the Black babies in Ziplocs. Oh, girl, get them down the street somewhere. You know how much them people don't like us? That goes for the Mexicans and all that too. Not just the Black, the melanated immigrants, but the other ones too. But back to what I was saying. Foundational Black Americans, we have no history. We have no collection of history where we can think back and say, oh, in America, we built this. When I say we, I'm talking Pan-African, a collective group of foundational Black Americans, a collective group of Caribbeans, a collective group of Africans. It does not exist. And it will never exist. It will never exist, foundational Black Americans. It will never exist because we are so, so, so different from these people. We are born in a country where we had no choice but to fight for our rights. We're stronger minded and stronger willed. We're more resistant. And we don't sometimes strategize to the best, but we strategize better. And that is how our people was able to survive in this country. They were able to build towns and cities of their own and all of the great things that we were doing that they kept on knocking down, knocking down. They ain't gonna give no reparations because they know we're gonna build. We builders. See all that foolery you hear about, oh, you ain't gonna do nothing but buy Jordans and hair weave and all. That's melanated immigrants in our mix hating on us. Because I told you they hate on us. They harbor hatred in their hearts for us, jealousy. And it's by nature because they tribal. They come from a tribal place where, they dangerously tribal. And when you're dangerously tribal, you want to go after the big dog and replace the big dog. Ooh, I want that. I want to replace the big dog. So they're trying to replace us. So they come into our mix and they spray the gender war. They pretend to be us because a lot of them are first, second, third generation immigrant, and they pretend to be us because they're born and raised here and they sound like us. They have our culture and they know, they kind of know how we move a little bit, but you can figure them out at some point because you can. They just don't got us all the way. And they come in our communities and spray gender banging among us to divide us. They say, oh, we're talking about the people that don't want to see us get reparations. How can you say that's your friend? How can you say that's one of you because they got brown just because they got brown skin like you? Are you crazy or dumb? So you gonna say they're one of you just because they got melanin in their skin? They melanate. So it's a waste of time to try to form any type of relationship with these people. And this doesn't mean hatred. It means, stick to your tribe as they are sticking to their tribe. That's all it means. Hate you. For what? Why should we hate Africans? There's nothing to hate. There's nothing for us to be jealous of. Why should we hate Caribbeans? There's nothing for us to hate. Nothing for us to be jealous of. Why should we want to be Africans or Caribbeans? There's no cultural achievements or worldwide influence like we have. Why would we hate you? Why would we even pay attention to you is what I'm saying. Like foundational Black American, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you even paying attention to them? You're the top dog. You have worldwide influence, cultural achievements. Our people are excellent, excellent in the face of horrors that was upon our people. Now we got sidetracked because the melanated immigrants came in and divided our communities. But we getting back on course. Yes, we getting back on course. And when we come back together, we're gonna be greater and stronger. And this time we're not gonna let no melanated person infiltrate just because they got brown skin. That's right. We don't gotta hate no melanated immigrants. We have nothing to hate. We don't wanna cosplay you for what? We were duped for a minute thinking that we were African when in fact we far from an African. I'm gonna get into that for a second. We far from a Caribbean. We share nothing in common. Period. I don't want to hear about all that. Oh, we got African ancestry and what? We got white ancestry. We got indigenous ancestry. We got all kind of ancestry going on down our lineage. A Nigerian and a Kenyan both have melanated skin, but are they the same genetically? No, they're not. They're not. And you go over there and call you go over there, a Nigerian talking about he a Kenyan and watch him get his ass whipped. Or a Kenyan trying to fit in with them and watch they make that Kenyan know. They're gonna remind that Kenyan all the time, you Kenyan. Especially if the Kenyan try to run for political office. That's when they really let you know. I know damn well you ain't coming to my country trying to run nothing. You a whole Kenyan. So those groups of people is on the landmass of Africa, but they're not the same genetically nor culturally. And they respect that, right? But they want to come over here to America and try to force foundational Black Americans to identify with them. God dang it. I am not an African. Lord. Ooh, we're not African. I'm gonna break this down and then I'm gonna move on to the political thing because I really want to talk about that. What's going on in the current atmosphere, what Trump is headed into, and I told you what he was gonna do. Listen, again, Black Americans, please stop wasting your precious intelligence on entertaining Caribbeans and Africans. And it doesn't mean we hate those people. We know we have no hatred towards, so we don't care nothing about those. The people don't faze us no kind of way. We just want you to stay out our face, stay out our mix. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh, there are some people that claim to be FBAs, and they may be FBAs, but they want you to be a part of their mix because they're Pan Africans. And when it comes to Pan Africans, I was supposed to do a broadcast on that. When it comes to Pan Africans automatically denounce. They automatically denounce the FBA lineage and put on an African identity. They participate in the erasure of FBA lineage, culture, and heritage. That's what they do. Now, there's some sicko-minded people. And let me explain this just a little bit more. Because all the things that we have been through in this country, that we have achieved and been through in this country, you mean to tell me you want to Africanize us? You want us to put on the African identity and just forget about our people in the struggle and all that and turn around and say we African and bring the Africans into America because ain't no Africans going back to Africa that's in America. You can believe that. Only a retarded person would think that an African in America is about to go back to Africa voluntarily. It's not happening. So you want us, the Pan Africans want us to put on an African identity and identify with Africans and Caribbeans. So what? We can become one what? So we got to erase our lineage, identity, history, and all that to become one with other people. That's what was almost happening. Almost happened, right? Almost had it. Damn. The big mouth Africans get online and talk about how much they hate foundational Black Americans. Oh, God dang it. Stupid Caribbeans got online talking about how much they hate foundational Black Americans. And boom. We say, oh, yeah, that's how you feel? Delineation time. you almost tricked us out of our whole lineage and history and culture, huh? You almost claimed it right from in front of our face. Almost. The jig is up, baby. The jig is up. It's time for you to move along now. Move around. Get on up out of our faces. Move around. The jig is up, baby. We're not playing with you no more. No more play. Please, foundational Black Americans, no more play. Don't waste your intelligence on these people. These people don't have your mindset. These people don't have your strength, the power in your mindset, your willpower. They're not us. So moving along from that, I wanted to touch up on well, let me say this real quick before I go into the political thing. Listen. And let me say this right here real quick first, too. Ain't no African or Caribbean teach a foundational Black American anything. I'm sorry to inform you. You guys can't teach us nothing. I'm sorry. Not a dang on thing, not one thing, not even one thing. You can't teach us anything. We can teach you, but you most certainly can't teach us anything. Matter of fact, we have taught you. We teach you about your history. You don't know this stuff back home where you come from. We teach you about your history. We teach you how to have resistance and all of that. You don't have this stuff back home where you come from. When you come to America, this is when you develop these type of attributes. When you come to America, cosplaying us. That's right. So, um, in the Bible, I know a lot of people is not biblical, and some of us are. But in the Bible, there's a story. The Bible talks about the Israelites. Period. It is centered around the Israelite nation of people. Okay, so the Israelites existed. Well, let's say they came about from another group of people. Okay, they were a chosen group that came from another group of people that already existed, which was called Hebrews, right? Because it's just as it says, Abraham the Hebrew, right? And Abraham, it came through his lineage. Abraham was a Hebrew. The Israelites came through his lineage. And so there were many Israelite people. I'm sorry, Hebrew people, right? And as time went on and the Israelites grew into powerful nations and stuff like that because they were God's chosen, you did not hear of the Hebrews coming because everybody feared the God of the Israelites. You did not hear the Hebrews coming and trying to snag the limelight from them, like, oh no, wait a minute, you come from us. Hold on, you come from us though. Wait a minute, you Israelites were enslaved in Egypt for like hundreds of years. So we know that you got Egyptian blood. You're one of us. You're one of us. You have to acknowledge your Egyptian part of you. Yes, you're Israelite. You're calling yourself Israelite, but listen, you have to acknowledge you have Egyptian blood too. You see how pathetically stupid that is and harassing that is? That's what Africans do to foundational Black Americans who have the spotlight of the world because they see we the big dog, we the top dogs. They come and constantly harass us. That's the correct word, harass us. And the shit is scary. No, you must identify as us. You have to identify. But I have different I have different lineage from different ancestry, even white ancestry. Like I'm not identifying as white. No, but you look like us. That's a damn lie. Because let me tell you something real quick, and I'm gonna be nice as possible as I can say it. The only group of Africans that can closely come near us as in looks is not a whole lot of them, but it's a good bit of them, a handful of them. They're Nigerians. Some of them have good facial features, symmetrical features of the face that's aligned like our symmetrical facial features. And I'm talking about way before Africans and Caribbeans came here. Black Americans are beautiful. Foundational Black Americans are beautiful people. And a lot of you came here and mixed your lineage with some of our people, all that kind of stuff. And now we see a lot of African pop outs. See the big lips and the big nose, all that kind of stuff like that. But listen, we don't look the same. Some of those Nigerians over there, it's a handful of it's a good bit of Nigerians, not a whole lot, that have good facial symmetrical features, like it aligns with ours. They don't have the nose bridge is not super wide and all that, and the eyes ain't far apart, all that old stuff like that, big old lips and stuff, tiny, tiny ears. We don't look alike. The other ones, I think because of incest, you know what happens when people have children mate with each other in the tribes and they all relatives. Sometimes it look, you know, but you don't look like us. You're not fooling anybody. And it's disgusting to constantly hear you say, you look like us. You don't. It's highly disrespectful and it's disgusting and it's yucky. You don't look like us. That is only, again, for a handful of like a good number of Nigerians can pull it off. Not all Nigerians. A good bit of Nigerians. That's it. The rest of you West Africans and stuff, no. No, 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 no. It's very obvious to the eye. You're not us. I know you're trying to tether and stuff, but don't be insulting us. I hear a lot of you talking about you come here and you take foundation of Black American men. Oh my women. Oh my gosh. Baby, you get women that's would you stop? Would you stop? What successful, happy, young, beautiful Black American girl is choosing an African guy over a decent, handsome, gorgeous foundational Black American young man? None, sweetheart. None. None, sweetheart. What you guys are dealing with are women that might be, not the best pick of the crop. Women that feel like they want somebody that they consider loyal. In their head, they believe Africans are loyal. They don't know that the man married already, probably in Europe. I had a friend like this. The husband had a wife in Europe and in Africa and married her in America. They don't be knowing. They actually believe that those men are loyal and different and more, they have more values. Because, they put on a whole game. It's all a game, baby. But you're not getting a pick of the crop. You could never compete with our brothers, and you could never compete with our sisters. It's just not there. We are the top dogs. Period. Point blank. I wouldn't even compare myself to African or Caribbean. Why would you even do that? See that competition, y'all? See that? That's all they do is compete with us. Oh, we come here and we take their women. Or their women love us. No, they don't. Are you delusional or something? A lot of us can hardly even stand the smell of the cooking. That smell is very strong and it get on a body, the person's body, and everywhere you go, that smell is with you. So we know that's not true because the smell is too much for us. They might say, "Oh, why are you dragging the Africans?" Oh no, Miss Chantell is not dragging anybody. Miss Chantell is speaking some truth on some things that I have heard. That's all I'm doing. And one more time again before I go into this, Africans and Caribbeans can't teach foundational Black Americans nothing, anything, not even one thing. But we certainly can teach you. We have taught a lot to you, a lot, even your own history. Because in Africa, they don't have history books. And the Caribbeans adore our leaders. They don't know how to be leaders and be resistant and strategic and coming up. They come over here and adore our leaders. But foundational Black Americans are on the rise, and I'm happy for that. I'm so very glad and happy that we recognize the game They almost stole our whole freaking identity, lineage, cultural culture, and heritage. They almost stole it right from in front of us because we were being what? Friendly. No more of that. Them Pan Africans, yeah, we gotta stump them out too. They be talking about, oh, we FBA, but you sitting there holding conversations, fruitless conversations with Africans and Caribbeans about what? They don't benefit you. Why are you even holding a conversation with them? They don't. I mean, how is it gonna benefit you? If it's not benefiting you, as they said, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. If it's not benefiting you, it's not helping. We don't have anything in our history where we can go back and say, well, this is how Pan Africans were as a collective. Foundational Black Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans built this. It doesn't exist. So you're wasting your time chattering it up with these people. Okay? Chatting it up. You know, as my New Orleans slang came out, chattering it up. You're wasting your time chatting it up with these people, okay? You don't benefit from that. They benefit from it. You're talking to people that harbor a dislike for you. They already have these. I mean, then they play. Well, we not taught that. We love you guys. Well, what can we do to what? Come on now, sir, ma'am. You know you don't really like us. Please push on. Be truthful with yourself. All right. So I was saying earlier, that's why I like Black Alpha Network. Y'all check his channel out. If you FBA, you're gonna love it. But he's a real FBA. He don't play that old Pan African stuff. He doesn't allow any type of Pan African to sneak in there. Homeboy is straight FBA, Foundational Black American. And I really enjoy his content once again because he do not hold any. He say, what he say? He said one time, he said, listen, ain't no need to talk to them people. That don't benefit you in no kind of way. Or you only need to hear your own voice and progress from there. You don't need to be hearing no other kind of foolery from no Africans and Caribbeans. That's what I'm saying. That's right. He be on it, baby. He be on it. And his perspective is very, I like it. His perspective, how you see things. He can read between lines very well. Got some depthness. What they call it biblically, it would be called discernment. You understand what I'm saying? You can't build nothing if you don't begin to close the doors to that. You can't build. You focus on your enemy if you don't close the door in their face. You too busy focused on your enemy. Instilling our cultural achievements is acting as an enemy. Tethering to us and stealing our identity, our name and stuff is acting as an enemy. Competing with us heavily is acting as an enemy. They're not trying to Pan African nothing with us. They're trying to compete with us and replace us. And you almost did it, huh? But not. Let's move into the political talk. Ooh, y'all, listen. Listen. I hope Miss Chantell ain't come off too rude. I just had to speak my truth. I'm not pushing hatred, but I am saying that when you in the face talking to people that just don't know nothing, it's I know it takes time for some of us to catch on though, because like I said earlier, it took me a minute to catch on. I was clicking a link and debating with the people, whatever, and I didn't realize those people had such a hatred and jealousy and enviness in their heart towards us. after so long, then I picked it up. I was like, oh my gosh, they really don't like us. What the heck? Yep. Because they pretend to like you, but they really don't. And so it take a minute for people to, from some foundational Black Americans to actually understand that. Wait a minute, why am I talking to you? Y'all don't like us, so I'm not even about to hold no conversations with you. Miss Chantell is definitely to that point. I don't need to hold no kind of conversations with you, sweetheart, about nothing, nothing at all. So, learn more in the chat had said earlier. I don't think your fight is with Caribbeans and Africans. I want you to know something, foundational Black Americans. Right now, we ain't fighting nothing. Ain't that right? We just kind of standoffish and in our little space looking, stay out the way because Trump is going for all of them. And they want to include us in it, talking about they don't think our fight is with Caribbeans and Africans. Honey, we ain't got no fight with no Caribbean and Africans. We just want you to leave us the hell alone and stop tethering and stop trying to steal our cultural achievements. That's it. We don't want nothing else from you. We ain't trying to fight with you. You're not worth fighting. We'll fight for what? We just want you to leave us alone. Move around. Go somewhere. Move around. Your fight is with Trump. So anyway, let's get into what's going on in the atmosphere of America currently. Listen, didn't I tell y'all that this man was going to enact that martial law? I told you he was going to come with it. He's a man of war. I told you he was going to come with that. What kind of person is that? Like, some people might call it a destroyer, but a person that knocked down the Legos and want to rebuild them. Ooh, I know somebody like that. That kind of person. Um, so it's been said that he was trying to enact martial law, and one of those judges popped up, and she was like, "Oh no, you not, honey. We're not gonna let you do that." One of the judges, right? She was like, "Oh no, you not, honey. We're not gonna let you do that. We're not gonna let him do that. Don't. This is nonsense." Now, a lot of the judges in America, which I didn't know, a lot of them are immigrants. I learned this from listening to another guy's channel. He was doing some investigation, and a whole lot of the judges, honey, are immigrants. They were put in place to protect immigrant populations. Well, that is very strategic, duh. You know what I mean? If they're going to take over America, that would be the smart thing to do. Put them in places where they can protect the immigrants in America. So a lot of them, I was seeing one guy, he does a lot of investigation and stuff like that with the immigrant stuff. And he was like, he exposed how one of the judges only been in America 4 months and became a judge. For 4 months. Wow. And yeah, how they had all these judges that were immigrants and stuff. And so um that's what helps to block Trump, knock down a whole lot of the stuff that he be doing and stuff. Yeah. So and that mayor, that Chicago mayor, I think he is paid in full. Like, I mean, who don't know this man is paid? This man is moving like a paid person. He is doing what he was paid to do. And I'm not talking about being a mayor. I'm talking somebody paid him to go hard for the immigrants, and whoever paid him, they gave him a lot of money, and he has to make things happen. He has to do that because ain't nobody gonna just go all out like that for immigrants, and he claiming to be one of us. He's most certainly not foundation. He's most certainly not foundational Black American. That's a no no. No, 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 he's not. But if he is, it would be surprising. And I know that for sure. I truly think that he's paid in full. And whoever paid him, he gotta do the dang on thing, boo. Okay, you see him out there invoking people to mob up and fight and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on with him? Trump gonna come for him once everything get popping. Oh my goodness, I think Trump gonna try to lock the man up or something because like he okay, whatever. So anyway, um, I see that he's trying to lock that lady up who was coming from too. Anyways, it's crazy, honey. Listen, Trump is trying to get martial law in effect. Remember, I told y'all about this months ago? I told y'all about this months ago. I said he is trying to get martial law put into effect, and that's how he's going to clean out the country of immigrants. And I'm telling you, these Africans that come over here, not just Africans, but people in general that come on those visas, and the ones that have like extended stay and stuff like that, ooh, they're gonna be next. Once he get rid of the border ones, the border meaning undocumented ones that just jump over the border. Once he get rid of them, child, he going for the ones with the expired visas and all that kind of stuff. Like they cleaning out the whole system. They doing investigations of marriages and everything. Like he's pretty much eliminating a majority of immigrants from the country. That's what it is. That's how come he started out saying we're gonna just do the criminal ones. But no, 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 sir. He's trying to just get rid of a majority of them from the country because we know what happened in Europe, right? He talked about what was going on in Sweden. Do y'all know what's going on in Sweden? Yeah, where the dudes then took over the Somalians, I think they are. They took over out there. And so Sweden has a real issue going on right now. So, anyways, he spoke about that on one of those news conferences. And I think he's just trying to get, we see what's going on in the UK and stuff. He's trying to get rid of a majority of immigrants. I think he only wanted to be a certain percentage. Okay. And so that's what it is. And so now, um, believe me, he has ways around it. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Remember, he ended TPS for a lot of groups, like 500,000 Haitians, 200 plus, I think it was almost 300,000 Venezuelans and some other groups of people and stuff. Well, they are not voluntarily leaving, which, I probably wouldn't either, but they're not voluntarily leaving. So he's disconnected them from the system. They cannot work because of TPS ending. They could not work. They cannot work. They don't have any, they don't get any benefits, food, housing. He trying to stop it where they don't even get to go to the get free health care from the hospital. At one point he allowed that to stay. He was like, okay, I'm gonna cut off every other government assistance, but they can go to the hospital if they need. No, he wants to cut that off too. Where they can't even go to the hospitals if they need whatever. He going to the colleges and he said, I'm gonna give you a certain amount of lump sum of money if you enact the ACT SAT. Because what happened was that, remember, they removed the ACT SAT tests from the schools and stuff like that. It was due to a lot of immigrants not being able to pass those tests. Not foundational Black Americans, baby, immigrants. And so they took a lot of those tests down, right? because they say it was the white kids who was having a hard time, but come to find out, it was the immigrants. And so Trump is now trying to pay schools to put back in effect the SAT, ACT scores because he believed that that's gonna not allow them to really pass because they can't pass the test. Okay, let me take a sip of this. Yeah, they can't pass the test. And so what else he's doing? He cut them off from food stamps, welfare. I don't think he cut them off from Social Security. I'm not sure, but I think so. I think so. Yeah, yeah, I think so. He cut them off from the system, period. So like if they TPS ended, they're not working. They don't get food stamps or anything, no cash, no welfare, no nothing. Um that's didn't I tell y'all like the shit was gonna hit the fan because these people is out there and they gotta eat and they have children. Remember they were going to the schoolhouses. They used to didn't go to the schoolhouses. Now they were waiting for the parents to come pick the children up from school and arrest them. Yes, honey. They're going to the schoolhouses, going to the colleges, they're going to the churches, they're going everywhere. There's no more sanctuary cities at all. He knocked those down. And so you have a large amount of people, like we're talking millions. We know over a million that is out there with no food stamps, no kind of benefits, no job, no nothing that has to eat. So that's not a good picture right there. They gotta come out and eat. If it gets really, really bad, they're gonna start stealing, robbing to eat. And Trump knows this. He knows that it's gonna get to that point. He's trying to bring them out, make them come out. And so that's why he was going around trying to enact the National Guards to different places so he can collect up those immigrants. Majority in the East region of America because that's where majority of them are. And in California because that's where majority of them are as well, right? And so that's why he was sending out the National Guards and stuff because he know that eventually they're gonna start taking if they gotta eat now. They gotta feed their children and so they gotta eat and drink. And he took them out of house and everything. They don't have nowhere to live. And so, the shit is about to hit the fan. And so let me get to the point. So he was going at it with Venezuela. I think it was Venezuelan government over there, bombing something or whatever. And the law he was trying to enact was that alien law, which he can enact it, by the way. He has the right to enact it if he want, because it's been some beef. Um, but now he's enacted another old time law. What that law called? Well, it's the Insurrection Act, where you can call out the martial law for unrest. So what happens is that when he knew this was going to happen, protesting and stuff, he knew that was going to happen. And with the protests and all of that stuff, they don't know they're falling right into his trap. So all of that fighting ICE and fighting the National Guards and stuff. Oh no, you falling right into the trap, babe. I'm taking a bait. Mm-mm. So what happened is that um He can enact martial law based on that. If it's civil unrest, if the National Guards and stuff and ICE is being attacked and stuff, he can enact that. If it's large protests that's, like uncivil and stuff, he can enact it. And he tried, but the judge stopped him. So we shall see where it goes from that point. At least we know now that that's what he's trying to do, enact martial law. I told y'all he was going to do that, right? Didn't I tell you that? I'm so cheap. But listen, the water is only boiling right now. It just started boiling. Okay, so when water boils, it's going to get to the point where what? Yeah, spill over. Okay, and it's only boiling right now. It's boiling. It's bubbling. Getting to it's to the surface, about to spill. So, anyways, martial law isn't something that nobody wants. I know, not listen. FBAs don't want that. I'm quite sure you don't want that when you know what it is, because from that point, from that point, what they do when martial law is enacted, the military comes and take over. Okay, take over all the government spaces, the local police, all that. The military is basically running things. That's martial law. You best to understand. You will have curfew. Everybody will have a curfew. Ain't gonna be no more hanging out and all that kind of stuff. You understand? Y'all done seen the TV shows where martial law is enacted. It's like that. It's pretty scary, huh? Yeah. And so you're gonna have curfew. The media is gonna be censored. They're not gonna be able to say anything they want. People are not gonna be able to gather and have protests. That nope, no large crowds gathering a protest until everything is back in order. Guess what else? They have the right. The military have the right to search homes and vehicles without warrants. Did you hear that part? They can go to homes and search homes and vehicles without warrants, people. And so if his military able to go busting homes and stuff and get the people out of the homes. Okay. They can detain people without a trial. At this point, I just think it's best to just go back home, you know. There's going to be weapon restrictions where people can't have guns. Now, that's where the white people ain't feeling that, right? Ooh, I know they're not feeling that. I know white people love their guns and stuff, honey. So it's going to be a weapon restriction where people won't be able to have guns. And again, they can detain people without trials. And again, they can search people's homes and vehicles without warrants. Ain't gonna be no more large protesting crowds or none of that. And people will have a curfew. So that's what it is. Y'all, I saw a young foundational Black American young man. I'm gonna have to share his video with y'all later on. I can't remember the name of his channel. So very bright and intelligent. I mean, he is so like, he was on it. That's the first that I seen break the story about that. that Trump is trying to invoke martial law. So yeah, I told you guys. I said that's what he's gonna end up doing that because I already knew that the immigrants wasn't gonna voluntarily leave. Period. Point blank. And we already know that Trump is a man that's willing to, um, he's willing to do what it takes to get them out. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody that's willing to do to take to get them out, and the people that's not trying to leave. So there you have it. Now, when it comes to martial law, nobody wants that. Not black, not white. Nobody wants that because that's total. That's a whole nother atmosphere right there of control. Of control. So yeah, that was it. That's it. That's my chatter up for tonight, y'all. And of course, a lot of people still getting laid off due to AI. you know, um, you better get careers that's AI focused or else tossed. Okay, let me see. Oh, let me tell you something. AI contributes to that too. The fact that America is not going to need cheap labor like that anymore, because they don't understand that they don't understand their position. Their position was you were ushered in as cheap labor, period. To so-called build America, whatever it is, whatever reason, you were ushered in as cheap labor, and now they don't need cheap labor anymore because AI is taking over a lot of stuff. AI is able to do a lot of stuff. We're talking about a lot of warehouse work too. AI is about to be basically doing all of that warehouse work, baby, in a minute. In a minute. I ain't talking about no year, in a minute. And Trump has already stated when he was buddy with Elon he was he was gonna make this a robotic place. I think he was saying it would be the first robotic or whatever, but they already doing a lot of that stuff in Japan already and in China. They already got their robots walking on the street and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Doing whatever. Um, but yeah, a lot of warehouse jobs and restaurants, all that stuff is about to be robotic. So there's no need anymore for foreigners. Yeah. And they're not going to be able to go grab a foundational Black American woman and try to marry on her because they cutting that short. That marriage citizenship stuff, they cutting that short, baby. They want proof that you guys were married and been married and still together today. If you're not with your wife today, you got a problem. Yep. And that's what it is. See, the people didn't know their position, and now they know. A lot of those Indian people that was doing the basic they were here doing the technology jobs or whatever, AI replaced them. That's why they sent them back home. They were cheap labor. AI replaced them. And it's replacing a whole lot more jobs to come, sweetheart. So yeah, we just need to know that. Let me go back and say this right quick. I want to say this and I'm done. I'm wrapping up for tonight. What time it is? It's probably it's almost one. All right. Oh, you know what? By the way, Black Alpha Network, he said them Africans who out here trying to tether to our name, Black Americans, they trying to tether to us so they can receive inherited. I mean, so they can inherit it. Inherit our cultural achievements and stuff like that. They're trying to. That's how they leeching on to us, right? Tethering. And so he said, we have to stomp out that name. We have to stomp out that name, African American. And I agree totally. We have to stomp that name out. I meant to put that on my ticker, but I forgot. African Americans is not foundational Black American. We got to always make that known, people. What are you, an African American? African Americans are not foundational Black Americans. That way, people going to know that's immigrants. They're going to know that that's immigrants. African Americans are not foundational Black Americans. People going to know that that's immigrants. Matter of fact, we should write books about them. Books about how they came and took our stole our identity. African American, what we was identifying as at one point, trying to call themselves Black like us. Now, yeah, we gotta write books about this. But listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna wrap it up. In Liberia, Liberia was a country. Well, there was. It goes like this: to help get some free Black Americans out of a hostile territory, the white people came and was like, yeah, we're gonna, help you get over there and get to freedom or whatever and get the hell out of America. Listen, we're gonna help you over there. We're gonna send you over there and we're gonna help you. All right. You help us win a war and everything, all that kind of stuff. We owe you that much, right? Yeah. So they they brought over to Africa these people who was half white to Africa. And they were freedmen, American freedmen, and they went over to Africa with these white people, and the white people purchased the land from the African chiefs, and of course they had money because the white Americans continued to support them in building their settlement, right? And so long as they can have a hand in it. And so these people, these American freedmen, built up their country, that little settlement in that area of Africa. They built up the settlement and called it Liberia because it grew and it grew and it grew. So they called it Liberia. Okay. I'm thinking it's related to liberty, freedom, because liberty, Liberia. Okay. So, anyways, they had African tribal people that was around them. Okay, because Africa was like territorial land. It wasn't all cut up into countries at that point. And so um they built up the country, and the surrounding African tribes watched them build and build and build and became very jealous. They began to despise those people and became very jealous. And, when the people had built up so much, the Africans wanted what they had. I tell you, that savage minded thinking, right? When you want to take what somebody have because you just feel like that's what you want. So that's exactly what they did after the people built up a big country and it became very successful and stuff. Those neighboring African tribe people wanted to be a part. The people did not mate with these Africans. They didn't marry them or have children with them or anything like that. What they did to help the Africans, they took in some of their children and raised them up and educated them. That's what they did to help the Africans. They educated their children, raised them up and educated them so they can help their tribes, right? And so the the people call themselves Liberians, the American freedmen, they call themselves Liberians. And so they had different African tribes surrounding. They really they started allowing them to go to school in their territory, right? The American freedmen, who was now called Liberians, they allowed they began to allow those indigenous African tribal people to attend their schools and stuff like that. And so what happened was that these Africans wanted to progress in the controlling of the country of Liberia. And it was on their books as a law that the only people that can run that country that was built by foundational Black American freedmen were foundational Black American. Or let's just say they had to be Liberian, but not Caribbean, not none of that. They had to be Liberians. They were not letting Africans or Caribbeans run that country that they built. Matter of fact, they welcome in Caribbeans, a lot of them from, I think it was Bahamas, something. And when they got there, they didn't allow them to come into their camp. They put them on a side and say, here goes some materials and all of that. Go ahead, build your stuff up. They wasn't successful at it and had to go back home. Haitians even went. A lot of them wasn't successful at it. And so a lot of people went and they couldn't build like the foundation of Black American freedmen people was building. Okay. And it wasn't successful for them. So anyways, one of the books on their law, the Liberian law, these Liberians were strictly American freedmen, not African. And so one of the laws was on their books was nobody can run that country except one of them that come from their tribe, Liberia or American freedmen. The Africans desired so bad to run their country as though they knew something. Let me tell you what happened. Eventually, they became so jealous of these people, they turned on these people, overtook the country, ate the leaders, because that's what they do when they say when they go to war, they eat their enemies, not just in wartime, though, child. So they ate the leaders, and the people fled, running to the arms of white America. Save us from the Africans. Yes, honey. So the Africans took over. They swarmed the whole city, the whole country. They swarmed the whole country of Liberia that was built up and took over. The first thing they did was pretended to be Liberians. They began to call themselves Liberians. They called the American government and say, hey, we are your stepchildren and you have an obligation to us. We need your help. Send us $55 million. Well, eventually America sent them 55 million altogether. And in Africa, you have to wonder what the hell they did with $55 million to say the country to this day is filthy. To this day. The people took over and shit it all over the place. They don't have any sewer systems. It's heavily it's Mosquitoville. And they shit it all over the place and pissed all over the place. The beaches everywhere, just everywhere. They have a little bitty area dedicated to tourism. But I don't know how that works because as the story goes, some of the cannibals were putting the blood in the food eateries around town. They were having the people who cook food put that in the food. The point of me telling you the story is what happened. I wanted you to know what happened to the American freedmen that went to Africa and built up a country called Liberia. Those Africans stole the country and they stole the people's identity. Do you know to this day, this very day, Africans are in this country in America calling themselves Liberians, and they're not. They're Africans. They're tribes of African people that stole the name Liberia, not only the country and shit it all over it, but they stole the name as well. They ruined the country in a matter of a year. To this day. Again, Foundation of Black Americans, they stole the people's name. They're going around saying they're Liberians, but they're actually indigenous African people. Liberians are only American freedmen, but their name was stolen by these people. And that is what they're trying to do to foundational Black Americans today. They're trying to steal our whole name, identity, our culture, our heritage, and anything else they can steal from us. They're not to be trusted, period. And I'm going to wrap it up right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Whoever come through and listen to the broadcast, I want you to drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the content. Don't feel offended. Listen, this is Miss Chantell's perspective. You have your perspective. I have my perspective. This is my perspective, and it's not meant um, to push hatred. That's not what it is, but it's meant to expose the truth. And when I do speak directly to foundational Black Americans. Do you understand what I'm saying? Thank you for tuning in. Good night.